Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Iceland once again, hence why I'm wearing blue today, and we're going to the capital city Reykjavik to return to Borg Brugghús, who are the craft division of Egil Skallagrimsson brewery, who produce the Brio Lager. So for this one we're going to have a look at another one of their Imperial Stouts. This one is the number 30 Surtur, which is a smoked Imperial Stout, and it comes in at 9% ABV, so it should be really nice. I really loved the Garin that I had from these guys before, which is a slightly bigger beer. It's at 11.5% if I remember correctly, but it's really nice, and overall this is a brewery that I've had very good experiences with in the past. And Iceland generally has a really good beer culture these days. There's quite a few good breweries popping up there, like Geidinger, there's these guys of course as well, and there's Ulfshult too, so there's really good beer coming out of Iceland, which is impressive when you consider it's only around 300,000 people. So a very beautiful place that you should visit, and you'll also find some very good beer there. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Borg Brugghús before. I think this might be review number 5, but there's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Icelandic beers that I've reviewed for you before, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. And do in particular let me know about any Icelandic breweries that have popped up in the last little while. So anyway, to tell you about Borg Brugghús then. So Borg Brugghús literally translates into English as town brewery, and like I mentioned to you, this is the craft division of Egil Skallagrimsson brewery in Iceland, which is part of the Uldagun group, and this is actually the oldest brewery in the country as well, and they're based in the capital city Reykjavik in southwestern part of the country. So Egil Skallagrimsson was probably the most famous Viking who ever lived, and he had a great impact on Iceland. He was reportedly born in the year 910, and he was a very high-spirited, stubborn individual, and not the most handsome of men apparently. But at a very young age he left on the first of his many successful voyages with his brother Torolf, and he was made the chief of Iceland upon his return. So Egil was apparently a great lover of mead, and there's many stories about him being drunk and doing really crazy things. So this gave the guys the kind of motivation and the idea to name their brewery after him. But the Egil Skallagrimsson brewery was founded back in 1913, and it's since won many awards for its beers. But to allow the staff room to kind of create different things, they founded Borg Brugghús as a sort of sidearm of the company. So the brewery is led today by Valgar Valgarsson, who is the head brewer, and he was the original brewer at Ulfshult as well, and he was actually the creator of the Lava beer, which is sort of one of the kind of pinnacle Icelandic craft beers, if you like. I've reviewed that one for you before, and it is really nice, and that's probably why this brewery do some really nice Imperial Stouts as well. So yeah, really cool to return to this brewery. Like I said, the trademark with this brewery is that they number all of their beers. So you saw the last one that I did, which was the Judas, and it was the number 16.1. So you get the beer. And there is a few different Surturs actually. There was number 38 and I think number 50 odd or something like that, where they've added a few different ingredients to the brew as well. So they're always playing around with recipes that they have, but they've got quite a lot of different types of beer. They've got meads, they've got sour beers, IPAs. They also have the Fenrir Tadriktur. That's one that I really recommend you check out. It's a traditional Icelandic method of smoking the malt through by filtering it through sheep shit. They've got a red ale, they've got brown ales, they've got pretty much any style you can think of. And like I say, these guys are a very well respected brewery in Iceland, and I've had very good experiences with them in the past, so you can check them out for yourselves. But yeah, if you want to see my other reviews from these guys, check out the links in the description below, and also if you want to learn more about the brewery itself, you'll find the link down there too. But yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. So I'll just let you have a little quick look at the artwork there. There you can see the typical Borg Brugghús artwork on there. Tells you a little bit on the back. Surtur is a force to be reckoned with, full-bodied, intense and intriguing. Under the tanned, creamy head, dark notes of leather, coffee and dark chocolate blend together perfectly with sheep manure smoked malt, so it's in this as well, making it a truly extraordinary Imperial Stout. So yeah, they've done the traditional smoking method with this as well. Like I said, the Fenrir Tadriktur, which I believe is number 25 if I'm remembering correctly, that is the sort of that's one of their kind of trademark beers, I guess. That's the one where they really highlight this malt. And the way they do it is, from what I gather, they create a fire, then they put a sort of mesh over the fire, and then they put the sheep shit round it. The smoke comes through and it smokes them all, and it gives you this kind of really earthy, sort of grassy taste to the beer, which is just really interesting. So there you can see the Borg Brugghús bottle cap. I do like how that's kind of almost like a bottle, or it's almost a little bit like a boiling kettle as well, but I think it is a bottle. But yeah, really nicely presented, this one. Like I mentioned, a 9% smoked Imperial Stout. So without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. It's quite a cool idea actually to put those smoked malts into an Imperial Stout as well. I don't know if they did that with the Garen that I had before. I think that might have been more a kind of straight up Imperial Stout, but like I said, that beer was an absolute beast at like 11.5%. But yeah, all of these beers, as I mentioned, are usually pretty damn good. So yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, this guy has poured a really dark ebony rosewood colour. There's a solid finger of a frothy beige tan head on this one. It's actually a little bit of a darker sort of tan colour, I would say, but it looks kind of exactly as you would expect. And the beer actually, you can actually get a little bit of vanilla off this one. It almost smells a little bit woody and vanilla just as you're kind of moving it around. But as I say, a dark sort of ebony rosewood colour. If I hold it up to the light, there's a wee tint of a ruby edge to it, but mainly it's a very sort of dark chestnut colour that I'm getting out of this one at the edge, but it looks very nice. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there, but overall it looks like a very, very nice beer. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on then. Oh yeah, right away you can smell those smoke malts that I was talking about. Yeah, so it's quite interesting, this one. You can smell some of these toasted black malts just underpinning the beer. But underneath that, and on top of that as well I should say, you can smell that lovely, that lovely sheep shit smoked malt actually. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of peaty, but at the same time it's a little bit meaty as well. To me it leans a little bit more towards the peaty side of things, and then the sort of meaty aspect of it, that kind of roasted bacon, hammy sort of thing, is just in the background a little bit. But it smells lovely. I could sit and smell this beer all day. It really hits the spot for me, but you know that. If you've watched my channel before, you know my whole thing with craft beer started with the Bamberg Rauch beers, but this is a lovely smelling beer. When you sugar it up a little bit, you can smell a little bit of kind of brown sugary character underneath this. Some sort of treacle or molasses. It does have that sort of thicker brown sugar thing to it. So you can smell that underneath when you sugar it up. There's maybe a little bit of a slightly woody aspect to this one as well. Like I was saying, I was picking up a bit of vanilla just when I was moving it around, but when you go in closer to it, that doesn't come out so much. There's a little bit of earthy hop in there as well, maybe just a little touch of grassiness. That might be coming from the sort of peaty aspects of the malt, right enough. Because as I mentioned, the sheep shit gives it that sort of kind of earthy, sort of peaty character, but earthy hop in there as well. And maybe just a little bit of red fruit. You can pick up just a little bit of raisiny or kind of plum sharpness on this one as well. But overall it smells really nice. The aroma though is definitely dominated by that sort of peaty, earthy, smoky character. But it's really, really nice. I highly recommend that you try this, that you have a look at this beer yourself if you get the chance. A really kind of unique Imperial Stout, but just as I always say, take a little bit of time and mull over the aroma of this one before you actually try it yourself. But let's get stuck into this beer then. So this is the Surtur number 30 from Borg Brugghús in Reykjavik in Iceland. Once again, Skál. Yeah. That's a lovely, lovely beer. Yeah, I really like that. You know, it just hits the spot for me perfectly. As you know, I love an Imperial Stout, but I love a smoked beer even more. And this one, it just sort of meets in the middle. It really is very, very nice. I mean, I would maybe go as far as I really enjoyed the Garen when I did that before. That was review number 750, I think. When I did that, that's an absolute beast of a beer, and it's really, really well done. And as I always say, beer is subjective, but for me, maybe just personally, I like this one just a little bit better. But it's, as I always say, beer is subjective. People like different things. For me, the smoky character of this just kind of makes it. That's a lovely, lovely beer. If you have the chance to try this or any of the other Borg beers, I highly recommend that you do. But this is lovely. So, as I always say with the dark beers, just sugar them around your palate a little bit and let your whole mouth adjust to the flavour before you start analysing it too much. So with this one, you've got a nice sort of roasted black malt character that just underpins the beer. That's the sort of the kind of scaffolding of the beer, if you like. Then on top of that, you start to get the smoky characters that I was talking about. There's a mix of a sort of peaty, earthy character in there, and then you've got a little aspect of the meatiness, but I think it starts to become a little bit more peaty as the flavour progresses, and you can feel the middle of your palate just kind of gradually drying out as the beer goes on. And as the beer is starting to warm up as well, you start to get a little bit more of the smoky character dominating as opposed to the kind of roasted black malts. But yeah, that's a lovely, lovely beer. There is a little bit of a kind of woody, almost oaky kind of character to this one. I'm getting a sort of woody, oaky vanilla thing just mixing in with all these things going on the palate too. There is a little bit of a brown sugar kind of thing. You can feel like a sort of toasted caramel element to this one, just mixing in with all those smoky aspects of the beer. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of breadiness mixing in with the woody sort of thing. There's a lot of stuff going on in this beer, so just pay attention particularly to the middle of your palate where you're going to get all of these malty flavours. This is a really, really good beer, and it's very complex as well actually. You know, it kind of has the level of complexity that you'd expect from a stout that's maybe, you know, 12, 13, 14%. It's got that to it. Although obviously it doesn't have the same kind of booziness, if you like. But there's a lot going on in the middle of your palate with this one. The hops are fairly simple, of course. In the back corners of the palate, there's a nice sort of earthy bitterness. As you come further forward, you can just feel that mellow out a little bit. Maybe there's a teeny bit of a sort of florally character to it and grassiness as you go round the front curve of the palate and the front corners of your palate, but overall it's mainly an earthy hop character that you're getting from this one, and the slight bit of bitterness that it has builds a good bridge between the kind of roasted black malt backbone that the beer has. But this is really, really nice. Yeah, the fruity side of the beer as well is quite simple. I was picking up a little bit of a raisiny or kind of plummy sharpness in the aroma with this one, but mainly it's a sort of slightly figgy and kind of candied red fruit that I'm picking from this, but it's very, very minimal. The flavour, of course, is dominated by the smoky aspects of the beer and the slight earthiness from the hops, but if you just go behind the front curve of your tongue, that's where you'll get the little oily bubble that comes out, and you'll just feel that sort of slightly candied red fruit thing in there. It's maybe a little figgy too, but that is it's very minimal in this in comparison to other stouts I've come across. The flavour really is dominated by those big sort of earthy, grassy, peaty, smoky elements. It's really nice, this beer. As I say, if you get the chance to try this one, it's something that is quite uniquely Icelandic, so it's something you really need to try for yourself. I mean, I can sit here and describe the flavours for you, but really, these sheep manure smoked malts, they really are like really nice. It's a really interesting thing, and it's something that's very unique to Iceland. It's a really beautiful country. It's somewhere. I just go to Iceland and drink the Borg beers. Try Olvesøl as well, Geidinger. Just go to Iceland, drive around the place, enjoy the scenery, talk to the people, and try their beers, try their food as well. It's really it's a really lovely place on earth actually. But this beer really is very nice and very uniquely Icelandic, I think I would say. As it's mellowing out and as it's moving into the aftertaste, you get more and more of that slightly roasted black malt bitter backbone that comes out of this beer. A little bit of that smokiness kind of lingers there, and a little bit of the earthiness from the hop is there as well, but in the aftertaste I'm starting to get more and more of that roasted black malt. And I think the sort of peaty, earthy, grassy sort of thing from the smoky character just sits there in the middle of the tongue and gives it a little bit of sweetness too. But overall, like I said, it's a really nice beer, and I highly recommend that you check this one out because it is particularly quirky. But I think it's a little bit harder to get, to be honest. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say this guy is mid-bodied. It's not it doesn't have the fullest body that you're going to find from an Imperial Stout. At 9% though, it is perhaps on the lower end of the Imperial Stout scale. I have seen ones down at sort of 8% kind of thing. So this one is on the kind of lower end of the Imperial Stout scale. The carbonation on this one is quite soft. It does have a little bit of a prickle, but it's very smooth. And once again, you can sort of tell with the water in this one. This is a trait with Icelandic beers. You can pick up on a little bit of the mineral content that you get in the water out of this beer. And that's just something you will notice. But the mouthfeel, this one, it's got more of a wet and very slightly oily mouthfeel to this one. The hops have a little bit of dryness to them. It's a dry, earthy hop, like I was saying. The malt base is kind of quite smooth. It does have a degree of sweetness to it, but mainly it's the sort of toasted black malts that dominate this one. Then you get the sort of smoky, peaty, slight sweetness out of it at the top, and there's just a little bit of a kind of red fruity character coming out as well. But overall, like I said, this is a really, really nice beer, and it's something that's quite quirky because of the way the malts are produced. It's a very kind of quintessentially Icelandic Imperial Stout, this one. So if you get the chance to try this, I highly recommend that you do. And if you get the chance to go to Iceland, honestly, jump at it. There's great beer there, the people are very nice, and it really is a very kind of scenic place. You're never going to go anywhere, I think, that's going to blow your mind in terms of scenery in the way that kind of that Iceland can. The diversity of fauna and all these kind of things that go on there is it's absolutely kind of mystifying. It's really a crazy place, but it's somewhere that I really love. So go there, have some good beers, enjoy the scenery. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media as well. If you have tried this particular beer yourself, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comments section below. If any of you guys in Iceland have some random facts about this beer or the brewery, let me know those in the description below as well. And let me know your favourite beers from this brewery too. So I'm sure I'll return to Borg Brugghús at some point in the near future. I do need to go back to Iceland, but hopefully I can try their mead and their Imperial Red, and they do have a Rauch beer as well, actually, that I need to try. So hopefully I can review those for you at some point in the near future. But this one was the Surtur number 30 from Borg Brugghús in Reykjavik in Iceland. A really kind of quintessentially Icelandic Imperial Stout. Make sure you try this one, but I'll catch you guys very soon with more beer reviews at Skill, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Cheers.